Hello, welcome to the Data Science with R class. Now, in this, we will be talking about the Unit 5 discussion where we look into the association rules and how are these association taken up, followed by what will be the aspects towards uh, linear regression, logistic regression, etc. So the first look at the association rule, thereby we dig deep into the association algorithm, then we check up what will be the evaluation for the candidate rules, and thereby few examples, then understanding these terms like support, confidence, lift, and leverage. So these are the metrics what we can say to evaluate the association, especially in the a priori algorithm. Especially in the a priori algorithm, we will be using these metrics in order to evaluate the things. Next, we do have a way to start up with an overview. So assume that we are given some list of transactions. So transaction in sense, the number of items which are procured in a grocery, etc. And it is going to contain one or more items. So these one or more items, they are to be associated. So I purchase some item 1 and I purchase some item 2, then we need to understand whether item 1 and item 2 are procured always. If it is procured always, yeah, we can say there is an association among those two items. So that is what we establish as most frequent items. We call it here as most frequent items are going to be the way to look into this issue. So when we talk about the association rule, the major thing was to discover the interesting relationship among the items. So what is the correlation between the item 1 and item 2? And we need to identify the customer's behavior pattern or the purchasing pattern, why these two items are going to be taken up uh, frequently. So in order to do this, we need some algorithm, and that algorithm, we call it as an association algorithm. Especially we will deal with some a priori algorithm. So here are some list of some transactions in a grocery. So these are transaction 1, transaction 2, and transaction 3. So we can see that there are some rules. What will be the rules, or what will be the general logic was, people who are going to buy in the left hand side, this is right hand side. So people who are going to buy cereals, they will definitely buy milk. So the putting of 90%, we get a rule here, that rule that is with some 90% definiteness. Similarly, people who are going to buy some bread will buy milk also. See the differences here. Similarly, people who are going to buy the milk are now buying the cereals also. There is another association. And similarly, people who buy milk, they are going to buy apples. So this is another interesting scenario where people who purchase wine will also purchase diapers. So that is also some of an interesting scenario. So we look into the market basket analysis. We see the customer buying patterns, and we understand whatever the most frequent items the customers are going to buy frequently. And we understand what will be the association between those items. And we generate some set of rules with words like support, confidence, lift. So these are some of the way what we are going to put this uh, to identify the association. When we are going to call it as a support, the first thing was when we are going to call this one as a support. So we say that how frequent the item is going to be taken. So how much frequent? So here we call how frequent the item is going to be purchased. And confidence is that uh, between two items, mostly used. So if they are going to purchase X, how much is the confidence that they purchase Y also? So that is where this confidence is going to come into scenario. And lift is that I purchase X and I purchase Y. Now I look what is the relationship. I look what is the uh, relationship. So confidence, it identifies the likelihood of two or more items. And as far as leverage is going to be concerned, so it sees that it is going to have the probability, it is going to look at the probability factor, even though X and Y, they are going to be independent, but are they purchased together? So the purchase probability between two independent items, we identify the association. So there the leverage is going to act upon. So coming to the very first word we call here as an association. So as part of an association, we have some set of rules. That is, if I'm going to write some X to Y, X is towards my left hand side and right is towards, Y is to my right hand side. Now I need a pattern. What was that pattern? Was that if X is there, then Y is also there. That means if X is purchased, then Y is also purchased. If X is purchased, then Y is also going to be purchased. So whether this is going to happen or not, in this way we need to look for the rules towards the association. In order to do this association, we first look at a concept called as market basket analysis. So in this market basket analysis, whatever items the customer is going to procure, those item collection, we are going to call it as some item set. So I have item 1, item 2, like that. So we have this item 1, item 2, item 3, etc. that is going to be observed for one transaction. So that is going to be observed for one transaction. That is one user. Now we need to observe for all the customers we need to observe for the all the customers. So one transaction, it is going to be viewed, and it is that the shopping basket of a customer is going to be analyzed, and he is going to have some one or more items, and those we call here as an item set. So what is the term called as an item set is? It is going to be the collection of items or an individual entities, and those individual entities can be related. Those individual entities can have some relationship. So that is where the market basket analysis is going to happen up. So we represent the items containing it as K. So if I assume a transaction has 100 items, then K is equals to some 100. We are going to mention it. That is called as a K item set. And the individual independent items, we call it as item 1 to item N or item K. So in this, we need to apply which two or more items are going to be more frequent. We need to identify. So that is where the association is going to bring up the scenario. So to do that association, we need to look into the word called as an a priori. We need to look into the word called as some a priori algorithm. So when we need to start up working with the a priori algorithm, there are some primitives which need to be understood, and such primitives we are going to call it as a support. So why we are going to use this support was that we need to see in the item set, how frequent the items are accessed. This is for transaction 1, transaction 2, transaction 3. In multiple transactions, we have an item set 1, item set 2, item set 3. So between different customer behavior patterns, who are the different customers and what are the frequent items they are going to purchase? So that needs to be analyzed, and that should be separated. So how we are going to separate is that we need to prune up the items. We need to prune up the items. How we are going to prune up means we are going to prune up in form of levels. To dig deep into level, we need to see with a word called as a support. We need to see the word called as a support. So when support is going to be taken up, we will work on the percentage of transactions that the item set is going to have. So if I am going to call a example here, first of all we check the example, then we'll go for a discussion. So if 80% of the transactions contains the item set bread, then we are going to say the support to which most frequent item will be the bread, and that it is going to be 8%. So now here I am going to say it is level 1, and I am going to call it as a one item set. So in 100 transactions, in 100 transactions, bread exists in 80. What does imply? 80% are purchasing bread, isn't it not? So in 100 customer visited the stores, 80 people purchased the bread. So what does this give a support? The support was that Definitely 80% of the people purchased the bread. So we got the first inference called as the support. So support was, it is going to tell how frequent the item is going to be accessed. So this was the first takeaway to represent the support. Next one. It is not meant to see that only one transaction is going up at a time. It can happen with item 1 and item 2. It can happen with item 1 and item 2. So now I can say it is 2 item set. So in one item set, only bread, it is 80%. Now I will analyze between transactions. In two transactions, two different transactions, whether bread and butter are taken up or not. Whether bread and butter, both the items are purchased or not. So that verification, how frequent the occurrence of bread and butter is there, so that it is going to be mentioned as 0.6. We call that word as support. So first of all, when we start towards the a priori algorithm, the first and foremost issue was how frequent the item is going to occur. So that occurrence we need to mention. That mentioning, it can be for one item, or it can be two item, or it can be for n item. So mentioning that we call here as a support. Now I fix some rules here, and when I fix some rules which are fitting in these rules, they are going to be categorized. Which are fitting the items satisfying the transaction items which are going to satisfy the rules. So we dig deep with a support. So in the items, how many number of transactions are supporting in such a manner? So that is, I can say 50% are supporting, then I'm going to give a value as 0.5. So what is minimum support? So in minimum support, we will illustrate with a default value. We will give a default value. While giving this default value, we say that the frequent item set has items that appear together. So together, how many items need to be appeared, that we are going to bring the content. Now if the minimum set is going to be of 0.5, if the minimum set is going to be of the 0.5, so any item set can be considered at least if 50% of transactions are meeting. I'm going to say find 3 items in the transactions. So 50% of the transactions should have the 3 items, then only that rule is going to be taken up. A customer purchases only bread, I'm not taking up. Customer purchases only milk, I'm not taking up. Customer purchases the jam, not taking up. But I will take up the customers who are purchasing all the 3 together, and that too they should be with a support of 0.5, that it should reach to 50% of those transactions need to be considered. So the support of a frequent item set should be greater than or equals to the minimum support. Whichever rule is going to satisfy to that 50%, only those item sets are going to be called as frequent, and those item sets are only going to be considered. So how can I draw this conclusion? Was we can draw this conclusion with a word called as an a priori. So we now talked about the minimum support. So a frequent item set has items that appear together most often. So we fix one threshold, we fix one threshold value, and that threshold value we are going to see that it always meets the content. Now this threshold value, it is going to be treated with some delta, etc. Now frequent item set. Next we need to see upon what is meant by the frequent item set. So first of all we are going to start with the null, then we are going to have one item, then we are going to have two items, followed by three items, followed by four items. Then there is an association between B and C, association between B and D, association between C and 3. That is at level. That is going to be at level 2. This is level 0, level 1, level 2, level 3, and level 4. Then again I can say there is an association between three item sets, that I can say it is BCD. Again there is an association between all items, it can be at ABCD. In this way we are going to drop the most frequent items. We drop the most frequent items. So how can I build the most frequent items? Was that here is an example that if 60% of the transactions contain bread and jam, then what does it mean? So if B is 60% and if BC is 60%, then we can cascade that B is also 60% and C is also 60%. So I take a frequent item bread and jam. So this two frequency is going to be 60%, and it implies that bread is also 60% and jam is also 60%. So that was the case what we are going to talk. So even this item set B comma C comma D is frequent, then all the subsets are also in the item set and they are also the frequent items. That means this is the shaded part here. So in this shaded part you can see that B, C comma D are frequent, implies two item set, three item set. This is one item set. If one item set is frequent, two item set, three item set, they are also frequent. So that is the implication what we are going to bring. So what we discussed was, we talked about support, we talked about the frequent item set. Now let us see what will be the a priori algorithm does. So the a priori algorithm, the first and foremost item is that it will identify the frequent item sets. It will identify the frequent item sets. So that is the job of the a priori algorithm. In doing that, how it is going to cope up its nature? To cope up its nature, it works with confidence, it works with support, it works with minimum support, and it works with the minimum confidence. So this was the first way of putting the things. Now, how the algorithm of an a priori was constructed means, it is going to take up the bottom-up iterative approach. So it starts with one item set, then it extends to two item set, then it extends to three item sets. That is, it finds the most frequent items. It finds the most frequent items, and that too two items which are more frequent, three items which are more frequent. It is going to display the nature in that model. So in order to do that, the first and foremost methodology was, it is going to fix up minimum support. It is going to fix up minimum support. That means in the entire set of transactions, at least 50%, should have the same rules. At least 50% should have the same rules. So for that, we are going to bring up the minimum association threshold. In general, minimum association threshold will be given in delta, which is an uppercase of a Roman number, and rest of the things, the tree, which is satisfying 50% item sets, it is keeping, and rest of the things, the branches which is raised by the a priori, it is going to chop off. It is going to prune those unwanted, that is, remove unwanted item sets or not meeting the minimum support. So if it is not meeting the minimum support, those items we need to remove it. We need to chop it out. So in this way, the optimization towards a priori algorithm is going to be done. So as mentioned, it is going to start with one item set, goes to two item sets. So one item set, it is iteration 1, two iteration, it is iteration 2. So it starts with single bread and egg, then it merges bread and egg, then it merges bread and milk, then it merges eggs and milk. So in this way, it is taking up with the too frequent, I can call here as frequent item sets. In this way, it extends the tree. So how long it is going to make? How long it is going to make? How long means we have already given the support value. We have already given the support value. So until the support value is going to be met, the iteration of the algorithms will go off. So fixing up these item sets here, one item, two frequent items, we call them as set of k candidate items. We call them as set of k candidate items. Next one, we need to fix up the support. That is, minimum 50% is going to happen or not happen, we need to bring up. So that it is going to bring with the word called as a symbol called as a delta. And the tree, it is going to organize into levels, that is Li, that is we can call it as Lk. Then this is first item. If I call second item, it is Lk plus 1. If I call third item, it is Lk plus 2. In this way, the iteration by iteration in the bottom-up approach model, the a priori algorithm is going to be constructed. So now this was a pseudocode of the a priori algorithm. In this a priori algorithm, we take D. D is going to start for data set. That is the list of transactions. D, it is going to call it as the data set, and it is going to call it as list of transaction. Delta, it is called as minimum support, and value must be supplied by domain expert, whoever is the owner of the supermarket, whoever is the data scientist of the supermarket, whoever is the analyst working on the grocery data set, that person, he is going to define how much value I can put minimum support so that I will identify the most frequent items. So for that, he is going to give the value called as a delta. N. N, it is going to be called as a number of transactions. N, it is going to call it as number of transactions. So obviously, we need to have items. We need to identify items. We need to trace items, and tracing the item will be taken up with the K. L stands for number of levels, that is frequent, most frequent item set. One item set, that means L1. Two most frequent item sets, L2. In this way, we are going to bring up the values. Now, the question was when to stop the iterations of the a priori. When to stop was until it is going to satisfy the condition. Until it is going to satisfy the condition, it meets the threshold value. Up to there, the algorithm traces are iterated. That too, it is going to be iterated in bottom-up approach. Now, we work with the while loop here, and in this while loop, we are now taking up the if statement. So until the k item set, most frequent items, are not equals to 0, now we are going to check up item by item. We are going to check up item by item, and until k is less than I, or the it is going to belong. This is called as a belong operator. Until the frequent item belong to the transaction, we are going to verify. So the next thing was we need to count how many items are available. So that is a temporary variable. We are going to use count, and that count we are going to give it with C, and it is going to point to the candidate item set. It is going to point to the candidate item set. So level by level, it is going to include the items. So here it is only bread, first level. Second one, bread and jam. This is second level. Third level, L3, L2, L1, bread, jam, and milk. So third level. So in this way, we are going to generate the candidate item sets level by level. For each transaction in the database, we iterate it. It is not that we do for a single instance, we do this for the multiple instance, that too for the entire database, we are going to iterate it. So one item set to two item sets, two item sets to three item sets. In this way, we need to have that incremental manner. Therefore, we are going to see that we increase the count from level to level. Okay. When to stop the iterations? When to stop the iterations is when it is going to reach to the maximum threshold values. So that is how the a priori algorithm we are going to fix up. So this was the explanation what I have written. That is the first step, it is going to identify the frequent item sets starting from each item, and it is going to meet the threshold value. Now when the item set, it is one item set, yeah, it is going to be mentioned as Li, L1, and this way it is going to be incremented. So when it is two item set, then we call it as L2. So how much we are going to do it until it is meeting the threshold value. So the growing and pruning process is repeated until no item sets meets the maximum threshold. So we iterate the process until we find the frequent items which are available, the rules are available, we are going to keep, and remaining we are going to eliminate. Remaining which are not fitting in the item sets, they are removed from the tree. What we call it as? We call them as pruning. We stored the list of rows, we stored the list of tuples or records or instances in a databases which are meeting one item set, two item set, and three item set, and we have drawn it as a tree as mentioned earlier. So such is what we call here as a growing. So unwanted items not fitting to the minimum criteria were removed, which are meeting the in form of levels, they are stored. So that is how the a priori algorithm was built. Fine. Up to now, we have talked only about the support. When we are going to call it as a support, it is going to tell how frequent the items, how frequent the items are accessed in the data set. Second thing what it is going to tell was in the number of transactions in entire transactions, how much percentage the item is occurring. So this was the first evaluation metrics what the support was telling. Now we got frequent one item set, frequent two item set. Now let us rechange our words frequent item sets to a word called as candidate rules. One item set, two item set, frequent items we are calling. Now let us reconvert this to the word called as candidate rules. Now how these candidate rules are verified, how these candidate rules are correct or not, we need to investigate. For that, we are going to make a evaluation. How we are going to evaluation was, we are taking another matrix called as confidence. We are going to take another matrix called as confidence. So confidence, what it is going to tell was, it is going to tell that the measure of certainty or trustworthiness associated in each discovered rule. So what is rule? I call bread, butter, jam, and milk, they are frequently purchased. People who are going to purchase bread, they are going to purchase butter, jam, and milk. If this is a rule, I call this as a left hand side, and butter, jam, and milk, I am going to call it as a right hand side. So is it true? We need to verify the true. So how we are going to do? That is where the confidence is going to come into picture. I discovered a rule in the data set that people who are buying bread are purchasing milk, are purchasing jam, are purchasing butter. Is this true or not? We need to verify. How we are going to verify means we are going to verify it with a word called as a confidence. So how I am calculating confidence was, confidence is given as x to y is equals to some support of x and y divided by support of x. So what is this? It shows that the percentage of transactions contain both x and y out of the transactions that contain x. So bread, I am going to call here as x, butter, jam, milk, I am going to call it as y. So whether both are done or not, we need to verify. So for that, we are going to get this word called as a confidence, and it says that with a formula, that is the confidence, it is going to be the percentage of transaction which contain both x and y out of all the transactions that contain x. So let us see this example. Bread, egg, milk, they are frequently purchased, and the support was 0.5. How did you get the support? How frequent the items are accessed, and second thing, how much percentage is their ratio available in the holistic set of transactions in the database. I have already the formula there. So by that, I derived a support. Next one. How frequent bread and eggs are purchased? It is again 0.5, 0.15. Now I need to procure this confidence. So when we need to look into the confidence of a rule, that is bread and eggs, people purchase bread and egg. Do they really purchase milk? So we get 0.15 divided by 0.15, we get 1. So we get this value 1 here. So the rule is correct. Now we can say rule is certain. Rule is correct. That means we got it. The confidence was that it is 100%. So whenever the customer, he is going to buy bread and eggs, he is going to buy milk. So that is what the evaluation of a candidate rule is going to be generated. Fine. We talked about one, support, then we talked about confidence. Now let us look into the evaluation of the candidate rule, that we need to identify what is the definition for lift. So in this lift, first of all, we should understand the first word, that is minimum confidence. So how certain the rules are, we need to get into measure. So how certain the rules are, that means we need to see that the algorithm, it is going to identify the relationship between confidence or which is greater than the predefined threshold. So either one, it is going to check up the measure for confidence, or it is going to check up the measure for the predefined threshold. Therefore, what we are going to propagate at this point of time was, in the lift, the third type of evaluation of a candidate rule, we should see that how many times X and Y they occur together than expected if they are statistically independent to each other. That means X is independent, Y is independent. Now we need to understand or check, do the customers purchase these two, that is X comma Y, together? Because X is an independent item, Y is an independent item. Now it is up to the data scientist to understand whether these two items, which are statistically different, are they purchased together? It should be understood. So for that, they are going to happen with a word called as a lift, and it is going to see that how X and Y are really related rather than coincidentally happen together. So are they really taken, or are they really purchased by most of the customers? So X is independent, Y is independent. Why these two independent items which don't really have any syncing, but still the customers are purchasing these two? What is the sense of the customer? You need to track up. So in order to trace such type of evidences, we are looking at another evaluation matrix. We call this one as lift. Now, how to see that the answer is correct or not? To see that, if answer is going to give 1, that means we can say they are statistically independent to each other, but they are procured. So how this 1 is going to be raised? It is going to raise that in the left hand side we have X, in the right hand side we have Y. So people who purchase X, are they going with Y? That means how much support we are going to have. That is together both X and Y divided by the product of two variables independently. So the entire set X with the entire set Y, and then we check up with the togetherness of both the things. So that is what we call here as a lift. So the association between two independent items, if it is greater than 1, then it is very strong. So that is the evidence what the statistical proved. So now let us see an example to calculate the lift. Let us see an example to calculate the lift. So we were telling that a lift is going to be, see that if X is going to happen to Y, then we are going to see that it is going to be the support of the two items X and Y divided by two independent items X in product with the product of Y. So what we are going to see here was, we do have 1000 transactions. In this 1000 transactions, milk and egg, they are going to appear in 300. Then milk, it is going to appear in 500. Egg, it is going to appear alone in 400 transactions. So we now need to check that milk and egg. So it is going to be some 300, which we call it as 0.3. Then I can say only milk, then it is only milk, it is going to be 300, we call it as 0.3. And only milk, it is 500, we call it as 0.5. And then only eggs, So it is going to be some 400. We call it as 0.4. So now we are going to illustrate this with, so 0.5 into 0.4. So we get this as 1.5. So lift is greater than 1. What does this inference give us? Inference gives us there is a stronger association. So definitely people who are going to buy milk, people who are going to buy milk, they are going to buy X. So X to Y, X is going to be called as milk, Y is going to be called as X. So people who buy milk will definitely buy X. How much? How much definiteness you are giving me? You are going to give the lift value with certainty of 1.5%. So in this way, we are calculating the certainties for the candidate rules. So we talked about support, then we talked about confidence. Third one, we talked about lift. And fourth one, we are yet to talk about the leverage. So in this leverage, there is a small change from lift to leverage. The formula was as X it is going to be the left hand side of curves, Y it is going to be the right hand side. Now it is support of both the items, that is X and Y, minus two independent items. So X and Y, they are independent, but we consider the product, but we are going to consider the product. So we get this values. So what is this leverage? It is going to tell us. It is going to tell that the difference in the probability of X and Y appearing together. So how statistically they are independent, that we have taken up in the lift, but in leverage it tells how much probability that X and Y they appear. So the chances for X to appear, the chances for Y to appear, and the chances for both X and Y to appear in candidate set. In the candidate set, how much probability is there for X, how much probability is there for Y to appear in the item set. So we need to look into that issue. So that is where the leverage is going to come into the scenario. So leverage states that X is independent, Y is independent. Now what is the probability of X, what is the probability of Y coming together for a person's buying habit? So that is where it is put into a scenario where leverage is given up a formula with support of X and Y minus support of X into Y. But a formula differences, you can check the formula differences was when we take it is lift, it is support of X and Y divided by X into Y. But the only formula difference we can find up with the leverage was we make a subtraction operator between these elements. So now values will be same, that is 0.3, 0.3, 0.5, 0.4. We get this as 0.1. Leverage between milk and egg and leverage between milk and bread. So this is some rule 1, leverage of bread and milk, that is rule 2. So how they are going to happen independently? So leverage is 0 when X and Y, they are going to be statistically independent to each other. So the values itself are going to state whether really these two items are independent or not. The values itself are going to state whether these two items are independent or not. So how it is going to bring? It is going to bring that if it is 0, then we can say the values are statistically independent. But what was the answer? Answer was 0.1. Answer was 0.2. Now what to say? It is 0.1 and 0.2. It is not fitting in the first. Now let us look into the next line. If an x and y have some kind of relationship, then the leverage will be greater than 0. So is it greater than 0? Yes. 0.1 greater than 0, 0.2 greater than 0, 0.1 greater than 0. So we can say that even though they are independent, they have some relationship. So even though x and y are independent, but still they have some relationship. They have some relationship. So that is what we are going to figure it out towards a word called as a leverage. Yeah. Where are these associations applied? In general, associations are applied for grocery stores, that is nothing but the supermarkets. Along with grocery stores or supermarkets, we do have lot of business applications, lot of merchandising applications, and where most of the inventory is going to happen. So they need to find more frequent items, or they need to generate the candidate set of items. So that is where the application stands for. So they can be used towards some promotional programs, campaigns, and whether the person is frequently buying something, whether we can offer him a loyalty card of that company or not. In this way, there are a lot of applications which will look for the application of association rules. Another system where the application of association rules is happening will be the recommendation systems. Will be the recommendation systems. So I purchased some item in the Amazon, and Amazon will recommend me the relevant item, most relevant item to that. For example, I purchase a laptop. For example, I purchase a laptop. Then automatically Amazon will show me a wireless mouse, a wireless keyboard, an adapters or Wi-Fi routers. So in this way, whatever are the supporting components to the laptop, like that, all those items are going to be recommended to us. So association will tell that people who purchased a laptop also frequently purchased wireless mouse, also purchased wireless keyboard. In this way, a recommendation is going to be given. How is this recommendation taken up? Means it is taken up with the association done by the earlier customers. Secondly, we have the OTT platform like Netflix. So I watch an action movie. Obviously, it recommends me of the same hero. It recommends me of the same director. It recommends me the same set of action movies which are available at the Netflix. That means it is going to discover the relations. It is going to discover whatever uh, associations are happening. They identify the customer habit. They look into the customer's interest, and they are going to generate the set of items which are more frequent. So such is where this recommendation engines is bringing out. Another example of some association rule, it is going to be clickstream analysis. So we work on Geeks for Weeks, or we works on online compilers. So we, or any newspapers or etc. Any website we check it up, the content is going to be in the center, maybe towards the left, towards the right, the advertisements are going to appear. When we click on that, we will move to the recommendation, what it is going to happen. Okay, that is issue one. Second issue, the advertisements which will come to us will be based on our earlier search habits. So the clicking items which will be interested to us while doing that activity will be relevant to the pattern what we have searched. For example, if I am going to use an Amazon website and checked for a Dell laptop, and I exited for today, and next day I am reading some newspaper, and the left column or right column of the advertisement tab of that e-newspaper, there will be a hangout that you have 40% discount, you have 30% discount on the laptop, or there are some new arrivals from other company vendors with the same configuration. In this way, we have a recommendation. So let us see this example here. So clickstream analysis, it is going to analyze the analytics of data which is related to the web browsing or user clicks. So as I had checked that item, I had clicked that item. So which are items frequent to that, those they are going to be associated, and they are going to be stored on my web browser at the client side, or they are going to be at the server side. So it is where we get a graph nodes, and it gives up the stream click per mil. You can call it as click per mil, etc. So there are some other measures. When we click on it, it will even be used to generate a revenue also. So they identify the customer patterns, and appropriate page will be displayed, and when we click on it, we will be moved from this existing to the other, and our buying pattern, it is going to be in form of a graph. So that gives the association rule, where we call it as a web usage data analytics. So here we can see that the visitor who has landed page on click on a page X clicks links A, B, and C, then the similar links they are going to be observed. So they are purely based on the personalized or recommendations to the content of the site visitor. So whatever recommendations I personally look, only those facts will come. So as I have searched for a laptop in my earlier search, the new arrivals of laptops, or the new vendors of the laptops, or the price drops of the laptop, so that information is going to occur, and that when I click on it, it moves to that makes a revenue to them. So this is what the first part of looking at the association is. So in this association, we talked about some of the primitives, starting with the overview to have most frequent items. Then we understand the rules to be with left to right having some support. Minimum support is going to be set up in the market basket analysis to find the most frequent item at 50% or 10%, etc. First, we generate the support. From the support, we are going to identify the minimum support. The frequent items which are fitting that minimum are considered. rest are removed. Removing, we call it as pruning. And we get this shaded item here, the frequent items which are associated at 1 item, 2 item, 3 item, they are going to be pulled up and they are generated at this point of time. So to do this scenario, we have the a priori algorithm. It is taken up with support, confidence, minimum support and minimum confidence, and that it is going to be derived with a delta value. So we have the a priori algorithm with the data set with the delta value to support the minimum support and number of transactions n, it is going to give number of items for the transaction, and it doesn't to identify item set 1, candidate item set 1, candidate item set 2, that it is going to be taken with item k1, k2, k3, and it is with level 1, level 2, level 3, and of course a priori algorithm, it deals with the bottom-up approach. It identifies one item. Later on in next iteration, it identifies two items. It joins up, joins up, joins up. How much time it joins until the condition is going to be satisfied. If the items are not fitted with the rules, it removes them, it prunes them. So the a priori algorithm is drawn up with support, and now that support, whether it is correct or not, to be verified. How it is going to be verified or how it is going to be evaluated means it sees that whether the two items are frequently done or not. So whether a transaction really contains the two items or not. So that is taken up with a confidence that is equals to support of both the items by the single item, whether that item contains or not. Thereby, we had another measure to evaluate the a priori algorithm, that was the lift. So in lift, we see that this X and Y both are independent items. So is there any association between for the buying pattern of a customer to check in the two associated items? If it is greater than one, yeah, we can take it into considerations. The another metrics to evaluate will be the leverage concept. So in the earlier lift, we made support of both X and Y divided by support of independent item X into support of independent item Y. But here we will use a subtraction operation, only that was the difference. So whether they are statistically independent but still they too can fit for this relation or not means if it is greater than 0, we can say the answer is correct. There are applications where the association can take up. It can be for a promotional campaign, a grocery stores, etc. Similarly, for recommendation engines in the websites such as Amazon or OTT platforms like Netflix. So we watch an action movie, the relevant action movies will be recommended to us. So clickstream analysis. So we worked on one website. Yesterday we seen some OTT platform with some action movies. Those recommendations will be shooted out as as the advertisements part. That when we click on it again, we will navigate to that illustrated part. So in this way, the clickstream analysis is one of an example for the association. So this is all for the association. In the next video, we will see that how association will be implemented in R language. Thank you.